Today I want to share with you something that will truly improve your business results. It will increase your effectiveness. It will also just make you feel so much better. So if you've been in a bit of a funk recently in your business, if you feel like things have been really slow in terms of your sales and your revenue, if you just also feel like you've just not been in the best zone, like you feel like you've kind of lost a bit of your business mojo, then doing what I'm gonna share with you today is gonna have such a beautiful change, and it's gonna really have that impact that you want on your business. It's gonna increase your results, but also it's just gonna make you feel so much better about your business, but also just on a day-to-day level. But what I am going to share with you, it is quite challenging and it does require practice, but it is very simple to do, and you don't have to be super smart to know how to do it or anything like that, but it requires like that extra bit of willpower, and it does require repetition, right? Because you got to get better at this, because at first it is quite tough, but like I said, it's a game changer, so you've got to be willing to just give this a go. Okay, so what I'm talking about here is choosing not to tolerate disempowered thinking. So those negative thoughts that come into your mind that tell you that you can't do something, the hopeless thoughts that tell you that you'll never get to your business goal, the feeling of scarcity or worry, that like everything's gonna go wrong, or what if the worst case scenario happens, or what if you lose all of your clients or all of your employees or all of your team members, or what if something happens and you're just, and you just notice your state go into like this crazy sort of catastrophic scenario. And we all do this at times, right? But today, I want to share with you a bit of a challenge, and I'm going to give you a challenge to shift that. Because it's completely normal to have these kinds of worries, these negative thoughts, this disempowered thinking. That's normal. We're gonna have thoughts like that show up in our minds, right? That's completely human. However, how you respond to those thoughts and how you respond to your worrying habit and how you respond to that feeling that like everything's gonna go wrong in your business, or you'll never make it, or just any of those like negative stories or negative beliefs, or that like negative like little inner chatter that goes on throughout your mind as a business owner, I really want to share with you that there's a way to respond to that is going to change the game for you. And it's definitely changed the game for me, and it's definitely changed the game for the clients that I've had who've used this themselves, right? So what it is when you have a negative thought, or when you have a worry, or when you notice your mind saying like it's never gonna work, or you can't possibly achieve your goal, or you're not clever enough, or whatever it is that your mind's going on about, or maybe your mind doesn't even say like a thought, but it'll bring up an image of you just like losing all your money, or an image of you losing out on all your clients, or any other kind of like horrible image, and you just start feeling so like, oh my gosh, what if that does happen? When you have any of those thoughts, feelings, worries, a lot of people just tolerate it. And what I mean by that is they notice the worry, they notice the thought, they notice the terrible image that comes into their mind. And instead of choosing to release it and replace it with a different image or with a different thought, they just ruminate on it. They allow it to live and hibernate and just sort of like take hold of their mind for like hours on end, right? And if not for hours, for like, half an hour. And even that's too much time, right? That's too much time spent on a terrible, catastrophic, worst case scenario, which first of all is unlikely to happen. But what's interesting is when we do worry, like when we do worry that we won't get to our goal, or we worry that we'll get into debt, or we worry that we'll lose our clients, or we worry that we're gonna lose our salon, or we worry that we're gonna lose our employees or our team or our wealth or our growth or whatever it is, what the fears of like what's gonna happen. When we worry, it's not like we're solving the problem. It's not like we're coming up with these like amazing solutions or these incredible plans to avoid that happening. No, what tends to happen is when you have the habit of worrying, you just keep worrying, right? It's just this like vicious cycle where you just constantly worry and worry and worry, or you just allow yourself to live in this really horrible, like kind of hopeless, helpless feeling and state, and you don't really get out of it. right? And I've been there myself. I'm sure you have as well as a business owner. You've experienced that where you've just like allowed yourself to kind of fall into that trap. Or when you notice like a thought like, I can't do this, or I don't have what it takes, or I'll never achieve my goal, because maybe it feels too big, or it feels too overwhelming, or it feels unrealistic, or it feels impossible. In that moment, if you just let yourself ruminate on that thought, or you buy into that thought, or you choose to believe that disempowered thought, when you do that, you go down that avenue, right? You're really allowing your mind to put energy and focus into a thought that isn't actually useful, helpful, valuable to you. And that's not actually gonna get you to anywhere you wanna get to. It's not gonna allow you to help serve more people. It's not gonna allow you to, help those that you love. It's not gonna allow you to grow your business. It's not gonna allow you to make the impact that you wanna make. It's not gonna allow you to scale your company. Having that thought, that's normal. We all have thoughts, right? We all have all kinds of thoughts, doubts, worries, negative thoughts that come up. But my point is, how are you responding to that thought? Are you allowing yourself to just live into that thought? Are you allowing yourself to just sort of, sink into that thought, ruminate on that thought, to allow that thought to just live there and to buy into it and to opt into it and to believe it? Because if you are, and I've done it, I've done it myself, what tends to happen is you start feeling discouraged, you start feeling low, you start feeling unmotivated, frustrated, helpless, hopeless. You lose your hunger, you lose your desire, you lose your will to take action in your business. You start feeling like procrastinating. You start feeling like, well, I want to numb this discomfort. I want to eat a whole bunch of food. I want to go binge on Netflix. I want to go do A, B, and C, just to kind of deal with all the emotions and feelings that are coming up as a result of you ruminating on those negative thoughts, or ruminating on those worries, or ruminating on those really negative images of what's going to happen to you in the future. So when we allow ourselves to do that, it just leads to less action. It leads to more negative thinking. It leads to a feeling of hopelessness and helplessness, right? It doesn't lead to like all these great, brilliant solutions, right? I don't know about you, but it never has for me, right? It leads to just more pain, more suffering, more frustration, more discomfort, and just less action, more procrastination, etc. So you're not even making progress on your business. It's not allowing you to grow your wealth. It's not allowing you to make more sales. It's not allowing you to increase your client base. It's actually doing the exact opposite, right? So you're worrying about not getting more clients, or you're worried about losing your clients. But actually the worry itself, and focusing on the worry and staying in the worry, is only just creating more of that, because you're avoiding action, you're procrastinating, and you're getting up in your head, and you're just basically feeling more and more discouraged by the hour, right? So that's one way that people go about their day-to-day in their business, is they just allow those negative thoughts to just sit there, to ruminate on them, etc. There's another way though, and that's what I'm going to challenge you to do over the next 10 days, is responding to that worry thought, or responding to that negative image, or responding to that fearful or doubtful thought in a different way. So I'm not saying that you're never gonna have those thoughts again. I'm not saying that you're never gonna have another worry. You will. That's human. However, when you have that negative thought, that doubt, that worry, in that moment, you can notice it, see it for what it is. So yeah, we all have this, as business owners, we all experience these random weird fears, these weird doubts, these worries. We all experience that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to replace it with a different image. I'm going to choose to replace it with a new thought. I'm going to choose to replace it with a new, more empowering story. So it doesn't mean that you're ignoring that it's there. You're very aware that it's there. You've acknowledged that it's there. And you're not trying to find a way for it not to show up, because it's going to show up once in a blue moon, right? Whenever it does. But it's in that moment, noticing the thought, noticing the worry, or noticing the image, and then choosing to replace it with a more empowered thought, or a more empowering image of the future, of what's possible for you, of what you can do. And that's the practice, right? So that's what I want you to do for the next 10 days. I'm challenging you to this, and I've done this myself multiple times over, and it's just incredible what can come out of it, right? Because I'll tell you, it's so easy to stay stuck in those patterns of thinking where you're ruminating on all the things that could go wrong and the worst case scenarios and the fearful thoughts and the limited thinking and the, the I'm not good enough, the I'm not smart enough, the, other people are better than me, the comparing yourself to others, it's so easy to just get lost in that kind of thought pattern and just go, go, go. And it does become a bit of a cycle, right? And so what I'm asking you to do is for the next 10 days, every time you get a worry, a negative thought, a terrible image, a worst case scenario, some sort of really disempowered thought that makes you feel terrible or helpless or hopeless about your business, I want you in that moment to just notice that it shows up and then stop it in its tracks. So you notice the thought, it comes up, and then you replace it with a more empowering thought or a more empowering story or a more empowering image of the future for yourself. So it could be as simple as telling yourself in that moment, like, I'm choosing to replace this thought right now. I know that I can do this. If other people have done this, I can do this too. If other people have made 6 figures in their business, so can I. If other people have made 7 figures in their business, so can I. If other people have scaled and grown their beauty salon, so can I. If other people have been able to build a global jewelry brand, so can I, right? So as simple as that, just having a thought or a story or a new phrase or a new affirmation or however you want to label it, that you just kind of repeat in your head. As soon as there's that negative thought that pops up, you just say, look, I hear you, I see you, I acknowledge you, but I'm choosing to release you and I'm choosing to replace it with a more empowered thought. And you can probably imagine this is quite like it really is a challenging practice because your mind is gonna pop up with all these like negative thoughts and it's gonna feel sometimes so believable and so true and so real. And so you're gonna have to be willing to be stronger than that, right? You need to be willing to be in charge of your mind and your body and your life as opposed to letting your mind be in charge of you, right? And so in that moment, you really do have the power to do that. And I've done it myself. Like I said, it's definitely challenging, but it really is a game changer. And it'll also show you how much of a pattern you have in your day-to-day life and in your day-to-day business of going back to negative or disempowered thoughts. When I do this challenge myself, like once in a while, I just like be reminded to do it. And it's really interesting to see how often you do go into that cycle of like really like limited thinking and like worries, right? So like worries are a big thing as well for business owners, like worrying about all kinds of random things, worrying about clients, worrying about money, worrying about sales, worrying about employees, teams, business partners, you name it. And again, that's a habit, right? It's the habit of worrying. And so this exercise, this challenge that you're gonna hopefully do for the next 10 days is going to allow you to see where this is a pattern in your day-to-day life and how this is affecting you and how much you do it, right? And maybe you're doing it more than you even think and more than you realize because you've never actually done this sort of exercise before and you're gonna be like, wow, I do this a lot more than I was hoping I do, right? And what you'll find over time is that one, it's a great awareness exercise, but two, you're gonna start feeling more and more motivated, more and more productive. You're gonna feel more and more in the zone. You're gonna find that like your business mojo like comes back, right? And the reason for that is because you're shifting your focus, you're shifting your thinking, right? It's as simple as that. It's not some sort of magical thing. It's really just that you're shifting the perspective and the angle on which you're looking, right? It's almost like you're flipping the lens to a different focus, right? And when you do that more and more repetitively day to day, right, as a practice for even just 10 days or even a couple days, you'll find that you're gonna be more motivated to take action. You're gonna be more empowered to actually keep moving forward on your projects, on your business goals, on what it is that you said you would do. It's gonna allow you to build momentum. It's gonna allow you to focus on the things that really do matter to you. And it's gonna just drastically change not only the energy that you're in, but also the actual tangible results that you start creating in your business. So I can't wait for you to actually try this out. I would love to hear how it goes for you. If you're anything like me, you're gonna find it quite challenging and you're gonna find that it's definitely something you have to practice and that it's not necessarily something that comes easily to you, especially if you've never done this before, because it's like you're retraining, reprogramming your mind to think in a different way. But it's ridiculously effective. It's so powerful. And I know that you're gonna find yourself being like, wow, like this is such a game changer. So enjoy. Good luck on this challenge. Let me know in the comments how you go. I'd love to hear that. Make sure to like this video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I look forward to seeing you for the next one.